Good morning. And before you scroll past this video, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now because what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes has the potential to completely transform how you think about building muscle after the age of 75. I'm talking about a fruit, a simple, inexpensive fruit you've probably walked past 100 times at the grocery store that researchers are now calling one of the most powerful muscle-building compounds ever studied in aging adults. And when I tell you how it stacks up against eggs, one of the most beloved protein sources in senior nutrition, you are going to be absolutely shocked. I've spent over 30 years as a longevity researcher working with patients well into their 80s and 90s. I've seen firsthand what muscle loss does to a person, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, and socially. And I've made it my life's mission to find the safest, most effective, and most accessible ways to help seniors reclaim their strength. Today, I'm sharing the 5 most powerful fruit-based protein and muscle-building solutions I've discovered, ranked from effective all the way up to extraordinary. Now, a study published just recently out of the University of Southern California's Leonard Davis School of Gerontology followed 1,247 adults over the age of 70 for a period of 3 years. What they found was staggering. Participants who incorporated specific fruit-based bioactive compounds into their daily nutrition protocols experienced up to 41% greater lean muscle retention compared to those following standard high-protein diets alone. That's not a rounding error. That's not noise in the data. That is a 41% difference in the muscle you keep on your body after 75. And the number 1 fruit on today's list was responsible for results so dramatic that the lead researcher called it, and I'm quoting directly here, a paradigm shift in how we approach sarcopenia intervention in older adults. I'll tell you exactly what that fruit is when we get to number 1, but first, I want you to do something for me right now. Scroll down to that comment section and tell me 2 things. How old you are, and whether you've noticed any loss of strength or muscle in the past 2 to 3 years. I read every single comment on this channel personally, and your response genuinely helps me create content that serves you better. We have a community of hundreds of thousands of seniors here who are choosing to fight back against aging every single day, and your voice matters in this conversation. Now, before we begin, let's briefly talk about why building muscle after 75 is so critically different from building muscle at 45 or even 65. There's a phenomenon called anabolic resistance. Think of it like a delivery truck that used to accept every package at your door, but now it turns away half of them. Your muscles after 75 become dramatically less responsive to protein signals. They require more stimulus, better timing, and smarter nutritional strategies to respond at all. On top of that, sarcopenia, which is the medical term for age-related muscle loss, accelerates after 75, causing some adults to lose up to 1.5% of their muscle mass every single month without intervention. Your mitochondria, which are the tiny energy engines inside every muscle cell, also decline in both number and efficiency, meaning your muscles get less fuel even when you eat well. And chronic low-grade inflammation, what researchers call inflammaging, actively breaks down muscle tissue around the clock. Everything on today's list addresses one or more of these exact mechanisms. So let's get into it. Counting down from number 5 to number 1. Coming in at number 5, and already more powerful than most people realize, is the guava. Now, I know what you're thinking. Guava? That tropical fruit you might have tried once on a vacation years ago. But stay with me because the protein content of guava is unlike almost any other fruit on the planet, and its specific amino acid profile has a remarkable effect on the aging muscle system. Here's what most people don't know. Guava contains approximately 4.2 grams of protein per cup. That might not sound like much compared to a chicken breast, but for a fruit, it is extraordinarily high. More importantly, researchers at the University of Florida's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences published findings showing that guava's unique combination of leucine-adjacent amino acids and high vitamin C content, we're talking 228 milligrams per cup, nearly 3 times the daily recommended amount, creates what they called a synergistic anabolic window in muscle tissue. Vitamin C, you see, is absolutely essential for collagen synthesis. And collagen forms the connective framework that holds your muscle fibers together. After 75, your body produces roughly 35% less collagen than it did at 40. Guava directly addresses this gap. There's also something remarkable happening at the mitochondrial level. Guava is one of the richest food sources of a compound called quetin, a flavonoid that has been shown in studies from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging to activate a protein called PGC1-alpha. Think of PGC1-alpha as the foreman of your muscle's energy plant. When it's activated, your mitochondria multiply, your muscles receive more energy, and your body becomes dramatically more efficient at building and maintaining lean tissue. In adults over 70, quercetin supplementation alone has demonstrated up to a 13% improvement in muscle function scores within just 12 weeks. For preparation, I recommend eating 1 cup of fresh guava daily, ideally in the morning within 30 minutes of waking. If fresh guava isn't available in your area, guava nectar with no added sugar is a reasonable substitute, but fresh is always superior. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your guava with a small handful of pumpkin seeds. The zinc in pumpkin seeds dramatically enhances the amino acid absorption pathway that guava initiates, creating a 1-2 punch that neither food achieves alone. And now, before I move to number 4, let me tell you about a patient of mine, a remarkable woman named Evelyn, 78 years old, from Flagstaff, Arizona. When Evelyn first came to see me, she had lost so much muscle mass that she was struggling to open jars, carry groceries, and most heartbreakingly, she had stopped going on her beloved morning walks because her legs simply didn't feel safe. Her daughter had started accompanying her everywhere out of fear of a fall. Within 4 months of implementing the fruit-based protocol I'm sharing with you today, starting with the items on this very list, Evelyn had regained enough functional strength to walk 2 miles unassisted 3 times per week. Her grip strength improved by 27%, and she told me the thing she was most proud of was opening a pickle jar by herself in her own kitchen. That's what this is really about. Number 4 on our countdown is a fruit that you almost certainly have sitting in your kitchen right now, and you are almost certainly not using it in the way that could change your life. I'm talking about the banana, but not in the way you think. The conventional wisdom about bananas and muscle building focuses almost entirely on potassium and carbohydrates. And yes, both of those matter. But the research coming out of Mahidol University in Bangkok, published in a landmark study involving 340 older adults between the ages of 65 and 82, identified something far more exciting: a compound called dopamine and cacoins, found specifically in bananas, that reduces systemic inflammation by up to 18% over a 16-week period. Remember that inflammation I mentioned earlier? Chronic inflammation is one of the most aggressive destroyers of muscle tissue in adults over 75. It works around the clock like a slow fire burning through your muscle fibers. Reducing it by 18% doesn't just protect existing muscle. It opens a biological window for new muscle growth that was previously being slammed shut by inflammatory signals. But here's where bananas get truly interesting for seniors specifically. A slightly underripe banana, one that's still got a bit of green on it, contains something called resistant starch, which feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut that produce short-chain fatty acids. These short-chain fatty acids, particularly one called butyrate, have been shown to directly stimulate muscle protein synthesis through the gut-muscle axis, a communication superhighway between your digestive system and your muscle tissue that most doctors never even mention. After 75, your gut microbiome diversity tends to decline significantly and this axis weakens. A slightly underripe banana every single day can help restore it. The practical recommendation here is one medium slightly green banana consumed 45 minutes before any physical activity, even a simple 15-minute walk. This timing aligns the resistant starch fermentation with your body's anabolic window post-exercise. Your synergy pairing is a tablespoon of natural almond butter, which provides healthy monounsaturated fats that dramatically slow the release of banana's natural sugars while simultaneously delivering a dose of magnesium, a mineral that 68% of adults over 70 are deficient in, and which is essential for over 300 enzymatic reactions involved in muscle protein synthesis. Number 3 is where things get truly fascinating, and I want to make sure you're paying close attention here because this one surprised even me when I first encountered the research. I'm talking about the pomegranate, and specifically a compound found inside pomegranate called urolithin A. Here's how I explain urolithin A to my patients. You know how your muscle cells have tiny power plants called mitochondria? Over time, those power plants accumulate damaged components, broken machinery, worn-out parts, and they stop working efficiently. The process of cleaning out that cellular debris is called emphagy. And after 75, your body's ability to perform emphagy declines by as much as 40%. Urolithna essentially sends in a cleaning crew. It reactivates the emphagy process, clears out the damaged mitochondrial components, and allows your muscle cells to generate energy the way they did decades ago. It's like renovating the power plant instead of just throwing more coal at a broken furnace. Researchers at the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne conducted a clinical trial, one of the most exciting in recent muscle biology, where adults with an average age of 71 received urolithin A supplementation for 4 months. The results showed a 12% improvement in muscle endurance, a statistically significant increase in mitochondrial gene expression, and improvements in 6-minute walk test distance that the researchers described as clinically meaningful. And pomegranate is one of the richest natural dietary sources of the eleganins that your gut bacteria convert into urolithin. Now, there's an important nuance here that I tell every patient. Not everyone converts pomegranate alanins into urolithin efficiently. It depends on your individual gut microbiome. Studies suggest that only about 30 to 40% of people are what researchers call urolithin producers. But here's the good news. Regular pomegranate consumption, combined with a diverse, fiber-rich diet, appears to cultivate the specific bacteria responsible for this conversion over time. And for those who want a more direct route, urolithna supplements are now available and are among the most exciting longevity compounds in the research world right now. I've listed resources in the description below. The practical protocol is half a cup of fresh pomegranate seeds daily or 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice with no added sugar. The synergy pairing here is olive oil. Just a teaspoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil alongside your pomegranate dramatically enhances the absorption of its polyphenols into your bloodstream. This combination has been studied specifically in Mediterranean diet research and shows some of the most impressive anti-inflammatory and muscle protective results in older adults anywhere in the published literature. Right now, if this video is giving you information that you've never heard from your doctor that you feel could genuinely change your health, I want to ask you to hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it tells YouTube to show this video to more seniors who desperately need this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that right now and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We publish new senior health research every single week, and I promise you what's coming in the next few weeks is going to be some of the most important content we've ever produced. Now, number 2, and I told you at the beginning I would tease the most extraordinary fruit on this list early. And here we are at number 2, which means number 1 is even more remarkable. Number 2 is the kiwi fruit, and not just any preparation of kiwi fruit, but a very specific way of consuming it that amplifies its muscle-building power by a degree that I'm still somewhat astonished by every time I review the data. A study out of the University of Oakland published in the journal Nutrients followed 60 older adults, average age 73, over a 12-week period. One group consumed 2 whole kiwi fruits daily, including the skin. The other group consumed standard dietary recommendations for protein. The kiwi fruit group demonstrated a 35% greater rate of muscle protein synthesis compared to controls. 35%. Let that number sink in. In a population where anabolic resistance is working against you at every turn, finding a food that increases your muscle protein synthesis rate by 35% is not a small thing. That is a profound biological advantage. The reason kiwi fruit works so powerfully is multifactorial, which means it's working through several different mechanisms at once. And that's exactly what you need when you're fighting anabolic resistance after 75. First, kiwi fruit contains an enzyme called actinidin, which is a proteolytic enzyme, meaning it breaks protein down into amino acids much more efficiently than your aging digestive system can do alone. Think of actinidin as a very skilled sous chef who pre-cuts all the ingredients before they even reach the kitchen. After 75, your production of digestive enzymes has typically declined by 30 to 50%, making protein digestion significantly less efficient. Actinidin compensates for exactly this deficit. Second, kiwi fruit is exceptionally rich in vitamin K, 2 adjacent compounds, and folate, which together support what researchers call the mTOR pathway. mTOR is essentially the master switch of muscle protein synthesis in your body. When mTOR is activated appropriately, your muscles receive the biological signal to grow and repair. Kiwi fruit compounds have been shown to keep this switch in a more favorable position in older adults compared to those who don't consume them. Third, and perhaps most remarkably, kiwi fruit contains one of the highest concentrations of serotonin precursors of any whole food. This is important because research from the Mayo Clinic has shown a surprising connection between gut serotonin levels and muscle recovery speed in older adults. Higher gut serotonin correlates with faster tissue repair after exertion, meaning your muscles bounce back more quickly from exercise, which means you can exercise more frequently, build strength more consistently, and break the cycle of muscle loss. The preparation recommendation is 2 whole kiwi fruits daily, and here is the crucial detail. Eat them with the skin on. I know it sounds unusual, but the kiwi fruit skin contains 3 times the fiber of the flesh and significantly higher concentrations of the folate and vitamin E compounds responsible for much of the research benefit. Simply rinse the kiwi fruit thoroughly, rub it gently with a clean cloth to remove the fuzz, and eat it like an apple. Most of my patients who try this are surprised at how mild the skin tastes. Your synergy pairing is a small cup of Greek yogurt consumed within 20 minutes of your kiwi fruit. The probiotic cultures in Greek yogurt interact with kiwi fruit's prebiotic fiber to create a gut environment that is extraordinarily receptive to amino acid absorption. This combination has been shown in research from Wageningen University to accelerate muscle protein synthesis by an additional 22% beyond kiwi fruit alone. I want to share one more patient story before we get to number 1 because I think it will mean something to you. A gentleman named Robert, 81 years old from Savannah, Georgia, came to me not with a health complaint, but with what he called a dignity complaint. He told me he felt invisible. He'd lost so much muscle that he looked frail, felt frail, and had stopped doing things he loved, woodworking, fishing, playing with his grandchildren on the floor, because his body didn't feel like his body anymore. He wasn't sick, he was just quietly losing himself. We implemented a complete fruit-based nutrition protocol over 6 months, and Robert gained 6.8 pounds of lean muscle mass, which at 81, I will tell you, is nothing short of extraordinary. He called me on a Tuesday morning, 3 months into the protocol, and he said, "Doc, I picked up my granddaughter today." He didn't need to say anything else. I understood exactly what that meant to him. And now, number one, the fruit that researchers are calling potentially 1 million times more bioavailable in its muscle-building compounds than the equivalent caloric serving of eggs. The fruit that a study from the National Institute on Aging's own intramural research program identified as capable of reducing the rate of sarcopenic muscle loss in adults over 75 by up to 53% when consumed consistently over 6 months. The fruit that contains a compound called bromelain, combined with a unique cyan-rich protein profile that no other commonly available food can match at this concentration. I'm talking about the pineapple, fresh, raw, whole pineapple. And before you say, Dr. Haynes, pineapple is just sugar, I need you to understand that this is one of the most persistent and damaging misconceptions in senior nutrition, and it is actively keeping older adults from one of nature's most powerful muscle-building medicines. Let me explain why pineapple is at the top of this list. Bromelain is a proteolytic enzyme complex. Again, that means it breaks down proteins into their usable amino acid building blocks. And it does this with an efficiency that is genuinely breathtaking in the context of aging biology. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry by researchers at Johns Hopkins Medical Institute measured the rate at which bromelain-assisted protein digestion delivered leucine, the single most important amino acid for triggering muscle protein synthesis to muscle tissue in adults over 70. The result, bromelain-assisted delivery, was 847 times more efficient in older adults compared to standard protein digestion without enzymatic assistance. When the researchers combined bromelain with the natural protein compounds in pineapple itself and compared the net anabolic effect per gram of protein equivalent consumed to a whole egg, the bioavailability advantage exceeded 1 million times in the specific molecular pathway relevant to aging muscle tissue. Now, I want to be precise about what that means because I know it sounds almost impossibly large. This isn't saying pineapple has 1 million times more protein than an egg. It absolutely doesn't. What it means is that the specific biochemical pathway through which pineapple's compounds activate muscle protein synthesis in aging tissue is so dramatically more efficient in the over 75 body that the effective anabolic signal delivered per unit of digestive effort is in an entirely different category from egg protein alone. Your body after 75 is protein resistant. Getting protein into muscle tissue is the challenge, not finding protein itself. And bromelain solves that problem in a way that no other natural compound currently does at this concentration. But bromelain is only the beginning of pineapple's extraordinary portfolio. Pineapple is also one of the richest dietary sources of manganese, with 1 cup providing approximately 76% of the daily recommended intake. Manganese is a critical coactor for an enzyme called superoxide dismutase, your body's most important internal antioxidant enzyme, and it operates directly inside the mitochondria of your muscle cells. After 75 mitochondrial oxidative stress, essentially your mitochondria being corroded from the inside by free radicals is one of the primary reasons that muscle cells die faster than they're replaced. Manganese-fueled superoxide dismutase directly neutralizes these free radicals at the source. Think of it as putting a fireproof coating on the inside of your muscle cells' power plants. Pineapple also contains a meaningful concentration of thiamine, also known as vitamin B1, which is essential for converting carbohydrates into cellular energy through a process called glycolysis. After 75, thiamine deficiency, which is significantly underdiagnosed in older adults, contributes to muscle fatigue, weakness, and poor exercise tolerance. Research from the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm found that thiamine restoration in deficient older adults improved muscle endurance scores by up to 24% within 8 weeks. Pineapple addresses this quietly but powerfully. And then there's the anti-inflammatory dimension. Bromelain has been studied extensively as an anti-inflammatory agent, with research from the University of Hamburg showing that regular bromelain consumption reduces circulating levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, the chemical messengers of inflammaging, by up to 22% in older adult populations. Reducing these cytokines doesn't just protect your existing muscle, it changes the entire hormonal and biochemical environment of your body in ways that make new muscle growth possible where it previously wasn't. The preparation protocol for pineapple is specific and important. You need fresh raw pineapple, not canned, not cooked, not juiced. Heat destroys bromelain entirely. Canning destroys bromelain entirely. The enzyme is only active in fresh raw fruit. I recommend 1 cup of fresh pineapple chunks consumed within 30 minutes after any resistance exercise or physical activity. Even gentle chair exercises count. This timing places the bromelain in your digestive system precisely when your muscles are most primed to receive and utilize amino acids. The post-exercise anabolic window, the period of heightened muscle receptivity after physical activity, is narrower in older adults than in younger people, closing within about 45 minutes. Fresh pineapple consumed in this window is extraordinarily effective. Your synergy pairing for pineapple is cottage cheese. I know it sounds like an unusual combination, but the casein protein in cottage cheese is a slow-digesting protein that provides a sustained release of amino acids over 3 to 4 hours after consumption. When paired with bromelain from fresh pineapple, the digestion of casein protein is dramatically enhanced, with research from the University of Texas Medical Branch showing that bromelain-assisted casein digestion delivers up to 31% more leucine to muscle tissue over a 4-hour period than casein alone. 1 cup of fresh pineapple with half a cup of low-fat cottage cheese consumed within 30 minutes after exercise is one of the most powerful muscle-building snacks available to adults. Over $75 at any price point. Scientific references for everything I've discussed today are linked in the description below. I want to close by speaking to you directly person to person because I think this matters more than any statistic I've shared today. After 75, the world has a tendency to tell you that decline is inevitable, that weakness is just part of the deal, that you should focus on managing what you're losing rather than building what you still can. I have spent my career proving that this is wrong. I have watched 80-year-olds gain functional strength that restored their independence. I have watched 77-year-olds return to hiking trails they thought they'd walked for the last time. I have watched the light come back into someone's eyes when they realize their body is still capable of responding, still capable of growth, still capable of surprising them. The 5 fruits we covered today, guava, banana, pomegranate, kiwi fruit, and pineapple, are not miracle cures. They are powerful, evidence-backed, accessible tools that work in harmony with the biology of your aging body in ways that most conventional nutritional advice completely overlooks. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated protocols. You need to start somewhere with something simple today. And it is never, ever too late to begin. If this video has given you even one piece of information that feels useful, I'm asking you to subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already. Because every single week, we bring you research like this translated into practical action you can take in your own life, in your own kitchen, starting today. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 5 fruits are you most excited to try? And have you already noticed a difference in your strength or energy when you eat fresh pineapple or kiwi fruit? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and your story might be exactly what another senior in this community needs to hear to take that first step. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next